And indeed, order my steps, dear Lord, because I need you each and every day. I need the guidance that you provide. I need the favor that you give to us. I need everything that you can provide, Lord. And we're so excited that we have that opportunity to be able to connect with our Lord and Savior. So, my friends, good afternoon to each of you out there in Radio Land. This is Hubert Grimes on The Judge Speaks. Excited to have a chance to come talk with you today. Looking forward, as always, to another day and opportunity to be able to share some information. Joy 106.3 has a two-pronged purpose. One, inspiration, which you get, of course, through the music, through the messaging, and everything that is connected to our Christian faith. And then, secondly, is information. Information is part of what my assignment is to share information that will make a difference in the lives of our people, whether those be locally or whether it be those who are watching us simulcast on the Facebook page. So either way, it's our desire that you come out better than you were before. You know my slogan, folks. Never go to bed as ignorant as you were when you got up this morning. Every day, you ought to learn something new. So I hope that something that we share here with you today will indeed fuel that desire and that hope and that expression so that you will be better than you are when you got up this morning. Remember, education is the key and always will be the key to being and staying free, particularly in times that we're living in right now. We're living in some challenging times. Now, there are those that are biblical scholars that say these were times that have been prophesied. They talk about some of the things that are going on. But it's kind of hard for us in real time to be able to see and to understand all the things going on. But certainly for Bible scholars, it's a great opportunity for you to read, study, explore, and share that information because indeed it is something that will be helpful to our people. Now, I also want to say that for those of you that are out there, and we're in some, again, talking about perilous times, uh, it's just some of the stuff that's happening is just kind of crazy. I can't think of any other kind of label that we can give it. It's not the stuff that we anticipated. I mean, they're trying to destroy and restrict black and brown people everywhere we go in all the things we seek to do. They think that that's going to slow us down. They think it's going to stop us from accomplishing or from solving problems. We've always been problem solvers, and we're going to do our best to continue doing that. Maybe not as fast as we like, but we're going to keep doing what the good Lord has purposed us to be able to do. Now, as we dive into the month of March, Women's History Month, the beginning of Daylight Saving Time, which will come up this coming weekend. So don't forget to spring forward, set your clocks 1 hour forward, so we'll get more daylight time at the end of the day. So that's a part of March. We also know that March, they talk about the Ides of March. They talk about a whole host of things that happen. But for me personally, March represents three of my siblings. All have birthdays in March. My sister Judy celebrated her birthday. I'm not going to tell you how many, but she celebrated her birthday on yesterday, and we were able to get together and do something special for her. We all came together via Zoom on Sunday afternoon we stretched from all across the southeast, and we are grateful that we had that chance to be with her. My younger brother Wendell, he don't want to say baby brother because he got a little time on his head now. But his birthday, of course, is tomorrow. So Judy's the second, Wendell's the fourth, and then my eldest brother Robert will be celebrating his 86th birthday on March 27th. So in the month of March, that's a special time for the Grimes family, and so we shout out to all of them for their birthdays. But in addition to that, it's also Women's History Month, and just like we concluded Black History Month over the weekend, we launched out to Women's History Month. So I want to just call out the names of three women that are very special in the legal profession. I celebrate that because that's the one I have more knowledge of because I grew up in that. I mean, I've been a practicing lawyer now since 1980. So I'll let y'all figure out how many years that is. 46 years that I've been on the scene. Graduated, of course, from the University of Georgia. But my work and the work of countless others would not have been possible without people such as one of the homegirls from here, none other than attorney Ruby Burroughs McZier. Ruby, of course, is a native Daytonan, but she was also the second woman, second black woman to be admitted to the Florida bar. The first was Bernice Dorn back in 1957. And then, of course, it was a number of years up until 1965 before both Ruby, Burroughs, McZier, and Gwen Cherry were actually admitted to practice law. Now, there have been men, black men, which are the first being back way back in 1849, the first time a black man was granted the opportunity to practice law in Florida. And you all have heard me talk about James Weldon Johnson, who came on the scene back in 1897, later wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing, later served as counsel for Venezuela, an appointment no less by the President of the United States. But you've heard me talk about that. But it was that period of time from 1849 all the way up to 1957 before we had a black female become a lawyer, a licensed lawyer, licensed to practice here in the state of, excuse me, in the state of Florida. And then again, as I said, Ruby Burroughs McZier, attorney. She lives in D.C. and has a phenomenal career, great sister. And so we celebrate her. We celebrate Gwen Cherry, who, of course, as I stated, was first elected to the Florida House of Representatives back in the early 70s. She actually, and here's something that's important for those of you listening, is that she didn't start her career as a lawyer. She started off as a teacher. And after some 17 years in teaching, and as she used to pour into her students the importance of them being able to pursue their dreams and how they should not give up on their dreams. Well, one day they challenged her. You know, that's interesting that sometimes as mentors, we get challenged by our mentees. And so they challenged her. What was her dream? Her dream was to become a lawyer. And so she went back to law school and graduated from University of Miami, went on to become a member of the Florida Bar in 1965. Same year, she and Ruby Burroughs McZier both became lawyers in 1965. And then they went on, of course, to have distinguished careers, and we are so grateful. There are a number of different things that are named after Representative Gwen Cherry, and including at FAMU Law School. Excuse me, I said University of Miami. I think it's FAMU Law School that she finished in and went. Yes, it was FAMU because we got a room named after her. There are there's a park named after her down in Miami. And I want you all to dig it out a little bit more. Google her name, dig it out, because she was a tremendous forerunner to people such as Justice Peggy Quince, who I will be talking about. I'm going to probably try to see if I can get my good friend. She's now retired, former Chief Justice. But again, she is one of many that we celebrate during this month of March, Women's History Month. And so it's important. And of course, I've got a great guest that's going to be joining us today, and we're going to be talking about some very important things going on, some of the political things happening at the local level, some at the national level, and of course we're going to talk about some travels and the like. He and I have some things, a lot of stuff in common, and I think you all will enjoy that discussion that we're going to bring him on in just a few minutes. But I wanted to throw something else out at you. As you all know, just at the end of Black History Month, the beginning of on Saturday and over the weekend, we all were shocked to find out that there had become a bombing of the country of Iran, a country of some 93 million people, one that the president, the current occupant of the White House, has stated back last summer that they had bombed Iran's and eliminated Iran's capability for nuclear weapons. Well, they circled back around, and obviously either what he said, I don't know whether what he said back then was truthful or not, and what he said since then was truthful or not. I'll let you be the choice. But in any event, they did significant bombing raids there in the country. They killed the leadership of the Iranian people. The guy was named as Khomeini, very similar to Khomeini, who preceded him. But he had been in this role for, I believe, something almost close to over 40 years in the role as the head of that Iranian government. Allegedly, our president was negotiating with them about getting rid of their nuclear weaponry capability, and they weren't moving fast enough, so he decided he would go in and bomb them. Now, that's what they're telling us. I don't know if that's all true, but that's what they're telling us. And then, of course, we know that both America and Israel were working together, and of course immediately Iran began to send out drones, and they tried to respond and retaliate, sending bombs and drones against the Iron, I think it's called the Iron Curtain of Israel, which has been designed so that it can neutralize any incoming missiles. But they sent those types of weapons back against Israel. They sent against a number of the other U.S. allies that are located in the Middle East. And I tell you, it's a problem. It's a mess. We don't know where it's going to take us. So those of you that are prayer warriors, please pray for our country. Pray for the servicemen and women who are affected by this. We lost 6, and I think that from what has been initially reported, that 3 of those were black females. There was one was a mishap that occurred because something happened in Kuwait. I don't know all the details of that, but it led to I believe they inadvertently shot down one of our planes. I believe that was how it was described. So I'm not quite sure with all the details of that. That will probably unfold as we move forward. But also we know already that the stock market has begun. This just today alone, it had taken a drastic dive, something like a 2% dive. We know that oil prices have already begun to go up, and so we're seeing the results and reactions to what is going on across the world. And so it's important that we maintain our faith during this time. It's important that we continue to recognize. We hope that we know there's elections going on, primaries out there in Texas and North Carolina, and again I think it's out in Utah today. And those will help to determine who's going to be in control of the House, who's going to be in control of the Senate. So what I would also encourage you, of course, is make sure you are registered to vote and that you got a current voter registration card. We've got gubernatorial elections coming up later this year, and of course Florida has its primary is not until August. So we just need to make sure that you are positioned, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of potential changes, things that may in itself cause us harm, may cause some people to be unable to vote. And I'm going to be working with the Joe Hatchett Bar Association on a very special project, something that we started several years ago, actually before the pandemic, whereby helping those who had completed, we call them returning citizens, those who had completed their sanctions, who had completed in any type of sentence that they might have been, that posed any type of felony conviction that resulted in either probation or incarceration. We're going to be working with helping people to get their voting rights reestablished. There was a bill that was passed, a constitutional amendment that was passed through the work of Desmond Meade and his leadership some years ago. Shout out to Cynthia Slater. We all call Cynthia our little sister, but he worked with and got that constitutional amendment passed, even though Governor DeSantis and some of the Republican leadership sought to try to mitigate it and try making additional responsibilities, such as what we refer to as poll taxes, things that people had to do before they could be granted the right to vote. But your voting is very important as we move forward. So I just want to say that. And I want to end my comments this morning before I bring my guest on with this. I thought about it as I was coming in, and the song came back from the 70s, and it basically says, war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. That was a song from who? None other than the Staple Singers back then. War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Those of you that are too young to remember it, you can always go on your playlist. You can always Google it, but listen to it, and listen to the fact that song is as relevant now as it was back then. So, War, What Is It Good For, by the Staple Singers. Not the group War. The group was good too. I love their music. Cisco Kid and Slipping in the Darkness, all those good things like that. So, we had some good music back in the 70s. One other thing, in order to promote the idea of literacy and reading, I'm going to do something. I'm going to give away, I have 2 books that I've published, and I got some others in the works right now, but I'm going to give away a copy each week during this, I'm going to call it Literacy Month, as well as Women History Month. But each week I'm going to give away a book to the Today, I think I'll make it the first caller. I'm going to give away a book, but you're going to have to come by my office and pick it up because we of course are computerized here at the radio station, so we don't have to be here every day, every moment of the hour. But I'm going to give away. I've got two books. I'll even give you a choice of which one you want. The first book I wrote was How to Keep Your Child from Going to Jail. It was something based upon my work in the juvenile delinquency area of the court system. That I did that work for well over 10 years. And then, secondly, the second book is a group of meditations and devotional messages that I coined Perspectives. No one can take what you have between your ears. So, if for the first caller that we get today, I'm going to donate that book free of charge to you with the hope of trying to stir up the interest in not only the show, but stirring up the interest in people that want to read and to hopefully influence your children to do the same thing. So, with that being said, it is my special privilege today to bring on a very dear friend of mine. Our paths have been, in many ways, have been similar. We've traveled together. We have done a lot of great things together. But he's doing some wonderful work now, and I'm going to bring him on at this particular time. None other than Mr. Jackie Moe. Come on over and have a seat with me, my friend.
Thank
And thank you for agreeing to come and be a part of this operation, should we say, if you choose. Now, in fact, Terrence always kind of reminds us that we don't necessarily have to put these on. I don't want to mess up my wig, and if I don't have to,
you. All
but
right.
he says unless we get a call coming in, and so we'll just wait until till the board lights up and we start getting some of those calls. I figured that somebody out there wants a copy of one of these books. So we'll see what happens with that. And if you want to call the station, of course, you can always do so. The call in number, I'm holding it up, 386 868 3411. 386 868 3411. 386 868 3411. That's the call in number to the station. And Terrence is going to get the name of the first one coming calling in. And if you want to make a comment on the air, certainly you're welcome, but you don't have to. I'm just going to do that because I want to stir up the gifts. Stir up the gifts. So, Brother Mo,
Yes, sir.
let's go back in time for a minute because you're doing a lot of great things, and
Thank you.
a lot of people they may not necessarily know you because on the one hand you're very focused in the work that you do, and I mean I didn't know until I talked with you at another interview session your role with NASA and the Air Force. I didn't know all of that, but let's talk about who is Jackie Mo,
Oh, let's start from the beginning. A lot of people might not know, but I grew up in Cocoa.
right?
I was born in South Carolina,
Yes.
Barnesville, Geechee
Mm-hmm.
country,
Looking for Bubba.
looking for Bubba. So that's pretty much a little bit. Many people might not know I'm a sixth-degree black belt in karate.
Yes, sir.
And
Don't
one of
bother
the
with
things
him.
that I do, I served as a city councilman in Cocoa from the 80 through 84,
Mm-hmm.
and just that's it. And I worked at the Cape for 37 years, a total 41 years with my military background, and I retired as a director of quality assurance on launch services.
Okay.
Side, that's the NASA side where we launch missiles.
But I remember you mentioning something about that before, which was very intriguing to me. That you dealt with quality assurance for what type? Are you able to say what type of missiles or what type of air, you know,
Yes,
rockets?
I started off on the shuttle program
Okay.
as a specialist, and then we moved to the GPS program. We called it Navstar. That's where we launched missiles up into geosynchronous orbit, which is 23,500 miles,
Okay.
to kind of look down to see what else is going on. So when you're looking at your GPS, we
Mm-hmm.
were the first to launch what we call Navstar. So I worked in that area, and I worked on the Atlas, Titan, and the Delta program. So just
Okay.
overall.
Interesting you say the GPS system because there was a black woman. Oh gosh, I got to get her last name, Dr. Gwen. She actually was not a doctor when she first helped develop, I guess, the formulas for GPS. But and back in the '70s. But she passed just a few, maybe last month. But they finally gave her credit for some of the early calculations that resulted in what we call the modern day GPS system. And of course, you guys, y'all take it to the max. Y'all, figure out how to make all the systems work and how to interface out in outer space as well as here on the ground.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, within a couple of meters, we could pinpoint exactly where an individual was and what they were doing. And a lot of our systems are based, especially our military system, are based on that GPS guidance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what we
I
did.
remember her first name, talk about G, it was Gladys. I want to say Wright, but I may be wrong on her
Okay,
last name. But
sure.
she actually just passed, like I say, early last month.
Hmm.
And I found out that through one of our Perline uh, partners that she was from Petersburg, Virginia.
Is that
But they
right?
gave her credit for having done the initial calculations that set in motion GPS. And now most of us would not know what to do without GPS today.
Isn't it amazing how so many years pass before we get credit for things?
Isn't that
And
amazing?
don't get me started with that.
That's, hey,
So
my
much,
friend, but
so
it's so
much
much.
that we don't get credit for.
Now you have turned your. I want to talk certainly, and those of you that may not be aware, we've traveled some together, but
Yes.
he and Marge, his wife, just recently returned from a very powerful trip to Africa, Ghana in particular, and we're going to talk about that. But I want to do that in the second part.
Okay.
But I want to talk about the work you're doing here
Okay.
initially, and that is to talk about the Faith program.
Yes.
Now I didn't say space, y'all. I said faith, F-A-I-T-H, and of course it's such a very important local program, particularly when we look at so much of the negativity happening on the national level. But here we are. You have helped to pull together various church groups from all across the county together in the faith program. Talk about what's faith, what is it, how did it get started, and your current role in faith.
Well, currently, Faith was 20, 25 years ago. We started through the Tubman King, Allen Chapel, and a few other African American churches and Our Lady of Lourdes.
Mm-hmm.
The acronym is Fighting Against Injustice Towards Harmony,
All right.
and consisting of about 30, 31 congregations throughout, to include the Muslim and the Jewish faith as it relates to fighting against the injustices. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
And you all, how many times have you had your faith assemblies and you called some of our political leadership to task in order to try to say, look, these are some of the problems that our people have come up with. Are you willing to step out and help us to solve these problems?
many times. At least that's one of the most important things that we do. Is we call it Nehemiah Action Assembly, which will be in March. I don't know the exact date now, but I can't
Okay.
remember, but I'm sure someone will help us out
Okay.
with that. Well, we call officials, local officials, because we believe that on a local level, they're the ones that's most affected, the decision makers, most of them
Mm-hmm.
trying to deal with the state and federal government. And we have been very active in the healthcare arena,
Mm-hmm.
juvenile justice.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on affordable housing. We're working on flooding. And we bring those individuals together, and what we ask them is a simple yes or no
Mm-hmm.
on will they support. And at the end, we'll give them a couple of minutes to explain their answer.
Okay.
We don't want filibustering. We don't want anything other than a straight yes or no. And
Mm-hmm.
those normally officials will receive the questions prior to the assembly, so we're not surprising them with anything. We're
Mm-hmm.
asking that question.
Mm-hmm.
And many times we've had over 1,400 people at an assembly, the largest gathering of a grassroots group here in Volusia County,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the biggest ones in the state of Florida. So that's what we do. We hold officials accountable.
Fighting against injustice
Injustice to,
through or to
toward
towards harmony.
harmony. Absolutely.
Fighting against, and I'm saying this for a reason, y'all. Fighting against injustice to or towards harmony.
Mhm.
Um, and what you made me think about is a phrase that I learned years ago, and that is that all politics are local.
Mhm.
All politics are local. Now, some people say, I don't believe in politics. I've actually heard some young people say that I don't believe in politics. What? And I remember the one of my professors all the way back in undergrad school, and I just celebrated my 50th year class reunion just in this past
Mhm.
October. So you're talking way back.
Mhm.
But I remember his phrase when he said that politics translates to who gets what and how much.
Wow.
who gets what, and that's determined by the involvement of people on the local level.
Absolutely.
So for those of you that may be new and saying, "Oh, I never heard of Faith before," uh, you've got an event coming up very quickly.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, it's tonight.
And where's it going to be?
We're gathering at Tubman King, and we're calling that a rally.
Okay.
Rally about the successes that we've had
Mm-hmm.
this year with affordable housing, with flooding, and we want to share it with the individuals to prepare for the exciting Nehemiah Action Assembly. So
Okay.
that is tonight at 6:30 at Tubman King,
Okay.
and all you need to do is show up
Just
and
show
be
up.
a part. That's it.
And when you think about talking about the flooding issue, and we know that in the core part of Daytona Beach, particularly when it was Hurricane Milton, Hurricane Ian, those areas over there, south of Orange Avenue, really south of ISB, they received tremendous amounts of flooding. But I know that there have also been a few homes that have been demolished and rebuilt, even elevated up on what the old folks we used to call them on stones.
Fields.
But these are things that will help to prevent those homes from being flooded again. But you all have, we have to attribute and give thanks to the work that Faith put in, to the work that the county council, because you all helped to influence the county council to go after those federal funds. I think they called the county's project was called 386, and again, that's the same zip code, area code that we have. So the work of Faith is good. I mean, you guys were the ones pushing for civil citations for juveniles.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that
Absolutely.
allowed for if a kid had gotten in trouble, the officer has an option rather than filing delinquency charges against them. They could literally give them what amounts to what we would say as adults as a ticket, and that saves them from getting a record. I mean, they got to do something. They might do some community service hours. They might have to do some. They might have to write some papers. They may have to do something that kids, quote unquote, teenagers, will not. That it doesn't impact necessarily the parents' pocket as much, but it helps to teach a lesson, and that is so powerful. So, again, on behalf of the citizens, thank you for the work that you guys are doing with Faith. And again, what time does the event start tonight?
Tonight at 6:30 at Tubman King. And let me add about the process.
Okay.
We just don't come out of the air with these processes. We have what we call house meetings where we gather with communities to say what is keeping you up at night.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get with these different groups, then we will vote on which issues we're going to take on
Okay.
because people are energized to do something about it. So it's so important that people say, well, somebody else is working on something. It's important that they be a part of it.
Yes.
I'm a critic of us
Mm-hmm.
that's most affected by these issues not showing up to represent.
My Lord.
And it affects me, it bothers me. I mean, I can't tell people what to do, but I can say that I don't want anyone to build my house, help me build the house,
Okay.
and I can make it work from there. So I'm encouraging individuals that's affected. Remember, people don't think about you unless it starts to affect them.
That's right.
Flooding is affecting more than just
Mm-hmm.
the Midtown.
Right.
It's affecting the Edgewaters. It's affecting the South Daytonas. It's affecting the Port Orange. Now people are gathering around, but I'm saying we need to gather as a people
Mm-hmm.
and represent
Yes.
where our issues are, what
Absolutely.
issues we're having.
Tubman King Community Church. You guys know that's on West George Ingram Boulevard. What time tonight?
Tonight at 6:30.
6:30 p.m. So get there by 6. So you'll make sure you got a seat.
Yes.
I've been fortunate to attend a couple of the rallies, and I tell you what, just to have people with the energy, and so often we're finding ourselves there are people who want to divide us racially, but one of the things I admire about Faith Organization is that you got a mixture, not only of people from different races, but you got a mixture of people from different faiths. I mean, you got Father Phil from the Catholic Church, and
Absolutely.
you got the brothers from my pastor, Reverend Lake, from the our pastor. I
Yes.
say mine, I'm
Yeah.
gonna claim him as much, but our pastor, Reverend Lake
Absolutely.
from AME. You got Tubman King is hosting it.
Friendship.
Friendship, you name it.
Yes.
So we got a good group of a core group of folks that are very concerned about their community, concerned about their parishioners, concerned about the things of how we gonna make difference in this community, how we gonna help support at the same time challenge our elected officials so that they
Exactly.
can step up to the plate and know that they're not just doing this by themselves. Many
Absolutely.
times they just, people don't show up to ask for stuff. Should I say they just want to show up when they got a problem? They want to go
Absolutely.
up and challenge and they want to
Hmm.
complain and they want to do that. But what happens if we begin to join hands
Hmm.
and do the work as you have been talking about?
Absolutely.
So I got to check in with Terrence here. Terrence, what? I know we have any upcoming break? Okay, all right. Terrence said you're gonna give me a few more minutes, but I'm thinking we want to. I want to dive into this next one because the next one is close to my heart as well, because we're going to talk about traveling,
Yes.
traveling. Now, we were blessed to travel with you and Marge, and we did some great Caribbean. I guess we call it Caribbean hopping way back when, and
Yes.
so we did the Jamaica, of course, which is where
Hmm.
Marge is from. And anybody's never had Marge's Jamaican cooking, man, all I can say is, man, you need to try it. And if you can't get it from Marge, I can tell you where you can get it from. You can get it from Marge's progeny, none other than Camille. And Camille and Omar have Kale Cafe, located in downtown Daytona Beach, on Beach Street, on the corner of Beach Street and ISB. And so, if you haven't had a chance and got some desire for vegan food with a Jamaican flair, then go by and check out Omar and Camille. They're there, and of course, where did Camille get her interest in food and how to cook? It came from her mama.
And let me say this, and Marge also have a birthday in
She's a
March,
March girl too.
March the 15th, as a matter of fact. Happy
Okay.
birthday, baby.
All right. All right. Hey. All right. You got to get that in now.
Yes,
You got to get that
indeed.
in.
Yes.
You guys have, of course, not only traveled in a variety of different places, but I mean, you've not only we talked about the Caribbean and not just Jamaica, but Bahamas, uh, the Virgin Islands, Barbados, you name.
Singapore, Malaysia,
Hmm.
Abu Dhabi, Italy,
Europe.
Venice, Europe,
Yes.
Greece,
Uh-huh.
Rome, and we have had a. We've been blessed to be able to travel.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Now, what we want to talk about, and I know it's going to overlap here, but I'm going to try to use my last 20 minutes thereabouts on talking about your most recent trip, because that's another one that we share in common. And again, folks, if you want to call in, anybody is interested in wanting to try to pursue a copy of my book here, choice of first or second, and whoever calls in and gets Terrence's attention. Again, that number, of course, is not only 386-868-3411, 386-868-3411. I'm going to give away a book. First caller, come call in, and you have a chance to not only choose which of the two that you want, and of course, no, not won't cost you a dime. Won't cost you a dime. We just want to make sure we promote the idea of, of literacy. And while I'm at it, before I dive into talking about the most recent trip, for those of you that were concerned about, y'all may have heard that my wife had some time in the hospital during the past month. She's out. She's doing very well. In fact, she's going back to work. And now, as of yesterday, I'm not driving Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy driving herself. So thank you all for your prayers. Thank you all for your concerns. And of course, there were times when you might have tried to call her during the month of February. It all started on February 4th when we had a very strange situation that happened. But, what the devil intends for bad, God uses for good.
Amen.
And as she told me, she said, I lost a little bit of weight during this hospitalization period, so I guess I got to try to go buy a few more pieces. I say any excuse is better than none at all. So
Absolutely.
she's looking to do that later this month. But she's up, she's about, she's back, and she's back at the office. She's not supposed to be working a full day, supposed to be doing a half day, but y'all know her. She's gonna do it as she chooses. But shout out to my dear wife. Love you, baby. Just stay strong and keep doing what you're supposed to do. And who knows, we might even get her back on the radio, Terrence. She keeps threatening, talking about she's coming back, but we still waiting to see. And those of you that are Daisy Grimes fans out there, y'all probably like her radio show more than mine, because I haven't heard anybody calling in yet. And even though I'm trying to give away a book, so why don't we go ahead and see if we can take our break a little bit early? Because when we come back, I'm going to go straight through, and I hope that we won't be, we don't want to be interrupted on that or break it up. So take a moment, folks. Those of you on radio, we're going to come back in just a minute after the commercial break. And then those of you that are watching us on Facebook, just hang in there with us. We'll be back momentarily.
Join Mount Bethel Baptist Church for Movie Day, Saturday, March 14th at 12 p.m. Address 700 South Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida. Inspired by a true story. The featured movie, Sarah's Oil, a story of an African-American girl born in the 1900s, believes there is oil beneath the land she's allotted and her faith is proven right. Bring your family and friends to Mount Bethel Baptist Church for Movie Day, March 14th at 12 p.m. For more information, 386-852-1632. That's 386-852-1632.
At PC 101 and Tax Right Services, we're here to handle your taxes with expertise. Whether it's this year's taxes or catching up on past years, we've got you covered. Schedule your one-on-one appointment today. Reach us at 386-363-5324. That is 386-363-5324. PC 101 and Tax Right Services, where taxes are done right. With convenient locations in Daytona and Ormond Beach, we make tax time stress-free and simple.
Prima Broadcasting, Inc. is a registered 501c3 nonprofit. This means your donations are 100% tax deductible. The support from listeners just like you is what keep this station on the air. Feel free to visit our website, joy1063fm.com, to donate, or call 386-256-4706 for more ways to give. Thank you for your continued support.
Tune in to Daytona Beach Radio with your host, Donna Gray Banks. This is the city's most exciting news and information program. Here on Joy 106.3 FM, every Wednesday beginning at 12 noon. Don't miss it.
Special thanks and support to WAIG comes from R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, where Alexander C. Wynn III, licensed funeral director and owner. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home provides full burial services, entombment, cremation, transporting services, pre-planning arrangements, and consultations. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home is located at 804 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, 386-253-7686.
Right. All right. We're back. But you know what? Y'all can, Jackie and I will have our own conversation going over here, and it's been real. Now, let's talk about your most recent trip, and because that one is special to me and special to you and Marge. So tell us, where did you go?
Went to Ghana.
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 Ghana's in the news a lot. We're seeing a lot of our people finally break through the, what should I call it, the misnomer, the mistakes, all of that image that they want to try to portray us as a backward continent. And now we're getting a chance to be able to experience it. And it's just so amazing what you tell us about your trip.
A little bit about the trip. First of all, let me share, Africa is nothing that was portrayed to us in the Tarzan movies where people run around throwing spears and walking around naked and not. It was unbelievable, the advancement of the people. So I enjoyed the trip. So I'm so excited I can't hardly talk.
All right.
And a little bit of how it started. Marge visited Ghana in 2024 December to it was a festival, and she shared with me that how nice it was, and I decided to do my DNA.
Okay.
To figure out where, I knew I was from Africa, but I didn't know where, knew no history. Did a DNA and realized that I am about 70% West African,
Okay.
more specific, 34% Ghanaian
Okay.
in that particular area. So I couldn't wait to schedule a trip.
Okay.
But prior to that, I wanted to do some research about my history.
Okay.
And I decided, and I was just looking in Africa and I saw the name Mole, Mole, pronounced Mole,
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana. And I'm like, I've got that name,
Right.
and because I've always assumed and that it was a slave name that was given, and
Mm-hmm.
who knows, it could be, but right now it fit right into my DNA.
Yes.
Said that there is some lineage in the Mole Gambani
Okay.
group, which is a popular group. So now I'm interested doing my DNA, searching where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
and that started it all.
But you told me it's interesting before we started today.
Hmm.
Some you had an incident happen at the hotel where your name and image.
Amazing. I had shared with our private tour guide,
Mm-hmm.
and Marge, my daughter Claudine,
Mm-hmm.
and three of us went over. We had the private tour with the private company.
Okay.
And we were in the hotel, the first hotel that we were in, and I shared with the tour guide who stayed with us the entire time, and that my last name was Mole, and I was from the northern Ghana area based on my research,
Mm-hmm.
etc. The next morning I got up, or maybe a couple of days later, he says, Jackie, he says, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what? He said, this guy walked over to me and said I resembled his uncle from the north.
Wow.
I was totally in shock that the uncle that he said I resembled was up from the North Ghana is where the family
The family lineage.
lineage from.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I haven't been the same since then.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's so amazing because I too had a chance to visit Ghana back in
Hmm.
24,
Hmm.
and it has changed my life.
Hmm.
And I think that so often people have had the false images of Africa, the false image. They refer to it as a dark continent, and it's far from that. Even while I was there, what was interesting was that there was a group of youngsters, high schoolers no less, who from Ghana, who won the global robotics competition.
Wow.
These
Hmm.
kids, I mean, they can take nothing and turn it into something. Doesn't that sound like us? I mean,
Exactly.
they some of them. This one kid had taken scraps. I watched. In fact, it may have been a 60-minute program. They took scraps from a trash pile, trash heap, and he put stuff together and created a little radio, created a radio receiver, and ended up doing his own radio show from the his parents' little garage area,
Wow.
based
Wow.
upon stuff that he found and
Yes.
put together. So that's an example of that. So what were some of the highlights of the trip?
Well, first of all, let me say this, and I'll go to the highlights.
Okay.
It has given me a new lease on life to know where I'm from,
Yes.
to know that we're royalty. And I say royalty from the sense is that the DNA is so effective. I've learned some things about me
Mm-hmm.
and even how I look as it
Okay.
relates to my ancestry. It makes me a proud to know that we're a proud people. It doesn't surprise me about the lady that invented the GPS system.
Mm.
We've always been advanced
Yes.
because, as you know, Ethiopia is in Africa,
That's
and
right.
so many times we look at Africa as a country more so that as a continent. But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go get started. My highlight. I think the most exciting thing is to be able to get the feeling that I was could feel the pain of my
Mm.
ancestries when
Yes.
I was able to put my foot in the river
Mm-hmm.
where the slaves were after marching 300 miles. They would go in and they would do the last bath
The
in
last
in that
bath.
river,
Yes.
and to be able to walk in that river and feel the 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 pain and the struggle has changed me completely as it relates to me as a human being. You can hear about it, but when you experience it or feel it, there's so much of a difference. That was my highlight, is to be
Okay.
able to walk that path
Yes.
and be a part of what has taken place and feel my ancestors, the struggle.
Mm.
And here we are,
They didn't give up.
still living,
Still
still
living.
surviving after all we're going through. We are a resilient people, and
That
that is where I am.
and I too shared that last Bath River experience, and was able to just to be able to touch the water, and like you say, to put your feet in the water and feel the trail. But then it took us to another. That was a highlight. But then it took us to another place.
Yes, took us to the dungeons where the slaves were actually herded. I'll use that for that because that's exactly what it was. And to walk into those dungeons where the sweat, the blood, and the was still visible on the floors, if you would, because
Yes.
as much as they wanted to clean it, it has continued to embed in those areas there. And hearing the stories on what they went through, in particularly how they raped our black women. They would put them in a separate. They would separate the men from the women, and they would pick and choose the one that they wanted to sleep with, and if they refused, they would punish them because some was proud and would not submit to that torture, and they would make them examples.
Yes.
But we still live on.
And you know, one of the things that always that troubled me in that same area was the fact that 3 floors above, 4 floors above, whatever that number was at the Cape Coast, but those folks were holding church.
Church.
Talking about they were praying for the souls of the people that you were raping, you were robbing, you were stealing, you were kidnapping, and ultimately you were putting them through the little small door of no return to get on board ships to send to America, in exchange for money.
And that was also affected me also, how the Christian could see that as an opportunity more so than cruel and inhumane. I just could not fathom that, and it affected me.
I cried, man.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, I cried. I had to go back to the bus that we were on that day, and I just said it was the combination of the heat, but it was really the emotions. And I just sat back on the bus, and I couldn't help but just cry and think about what our ancestors went through. They had to go through that for us to be over here.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
absolutely.
It don't take a rocket scientist to put 2 plus 2 together.
Absolutely. And it was all about economics, all about the money. It's all about using someone else to enrich you and the profit in that area. But we are a resilient people, and I'm old enough to remember the civil rights movement.
Yes, sir.
And how people was treated. But after going through that over in Africa, that was nothing compared to where they were treated, and we're still surviving. We're still there, and we look back on what happened then, and as we are not, if we're not careful, it will, and it is happening now, where those things that our ancestors died for, some of us are forgetting because we won't go out and revolt. We won't participate in things that we know is wrong. We must sit back and wait for somebody else to do it, not realizing what our ancestors has gone through, from the slavery to civil rights, and even right now as we go through those. Some of us are in a comfort zone. We're all right.
Yeah. But now, you know, even with that being the past, but you also experienced a lot of, you know, very beautiful things. I mean, I saw the pictures of you and Marge in your kingly and queenly regalia that y'all took the pictures in. You went to different communities. You went to Kumasi.
We did. We did. And we went to the we had a naming ceremony, which is exciting. And I want you to share that my name is Kobana.
Okay.
That means that I was born on a Tuesday.
Okay.
And
Okay.
many of the African names represent the day that they were born in that particular year. And I know you also uh, have a name
I
too.
actually got my name. Jackie brought me back another bracelet, and of course, my birth date is known as Kwaku, born on Wednesday. Born on
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's just exciting to be able to connect these pieces, and then to see how many, I would like to say, modern activity. I mean, you talk about the hotels and the cars and the skyscrapers, and I mean, there's just so much modernization going on in Ghana. We went to, of course, the museum
Yes.
and see
W.B. Du Bois.
the boys. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
And what
It-
about that? Oh my God, there's so much to think about, man. The beautiful homes along the river.
oh
I mean, you
my.
thought you were driving down the Halifax River over there on the beach side.
And it's just beautiful. And again, taking a chance, taking an opportunity, and that's what I want to do. As I've shared before, is I want to share this trip because we have so much technology now on what we accomplished. But the naming ceremony, let me do that real quick
Please.
because this is really good. We dressed in white for the naming ceremony, and the
Mm-hmm.
king was the person that was doing the blessing and things of that nature. But prior to that, we would sit down and with the queen would start off. By the way,
Okay.
we walk in. First of all, they prep you before you go before the king,
Right.
one of many kings,
Yes.
and they said first of all you can't cross your legs, and you can't speak directly to the king. You need to speak to his prop, whatever it was,
Right.
unless the king spoke to you.
Mm.
I said, okay, that's pretty
Okay.
easy to do. So the king, they started naming. It's about on that particular one. It's about seven of us instead of the three.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked a little bit about why we were here, and I explained to them about my name, Mole,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's familiar with that name from that
Wow.
pronunciation.
Wow.
So the queen, when they should sit down and name me, is Kobana Manser. That means born on a Tuesday, third child.
Wow.
And the queen said to me, she says, "You are my uncle," because her uncle was Kobana
Wow.
Manser. She said, "You're my uncle." I said, "Right. So you're to take care of me," and so on and therefore. The queen said. So either way, and when I went to the king after
Okay.
we talked to the king, and the king says that you're here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Your visit is not just a visit, you're here for a purpose.
Okay.
And I'm just feeling it, okay?
Yes. Yes.
So after the ceremony, everybody's name, we talked, we started, took some pictures, and the king, Marge, and Claudine, we took a picture together. So the king said to me, he says, "You're my elder," which I'm older. He said, "But
Okay.
I am the king."
All right. Don't get it twisted, right?
Don't get it twisted. And everybody laughed, and we had pictures of that. But that was just a refreshing opportunity to be able to reconnect
Okay.
and do the naming ceremony and things of that nature, and visit the different symbols. As you know, I'm wearing my symbol here,
All right. Yeah.
Nante
Sankofa.
symbol. Yes,
Beautiful.
Sankofa. It means to looking back or never forget. And
Never
in that
forget.
particular
Yes.
instance, and Marge got one was accept God. So again, that was a highlight. And watching the people, everybody worked, hard workers, and we were amazed at how they carried things on
Oh my
their
God.
their head, and they were
Oh.
balancing things, and it, it was like everybody worked, and the crime is almost non-existence there. Because if you commit a crime, you're going to be punished. I was sharing with you earlier that someone had stole someone's chicken because Marge was wondering why is the cows just walking around, and it's a free range that cows go feed somewhere and they go back. And he said, well, because we have no crimes. Somebody just recently got 2 years in prison for stealing I think it was a chicken or a goat.
Wow.
It's almost like, oh my God. So
Don't play.
it was so relaxing, no crime. People are so loving, so friendly, want to help, want to engage. And my people, black people,
Yes.
everywhere you looked, running the country and doing good things. So that was the highlight.
Wow. Wow. And of course, as we think about that, you just refreshed so many memories I have from those 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I know that right now my daughter's a part of a group. They're planning to go back in the summer. And I'm looking forward to doing the same thing, going back again. And so who knows, maybe we'll all
Absolutely.
connect together and go back together, because
Absolutely.
it's something that's is life changing.
It is.
Life changing,
It
to
was
say
for
the
me.
least. And to see the work and the accomplishments that they have been able to make, it's just amazing. And of course, folks, we got a lot more to talk about. Hopefully, I can get Brother Mole back here for a follow up. And who knows, maybe we'll get Marge over here and have her to bring some of her dishes, and we'll display those on the TV on the video as well. But wow, that hour's already gone by, Terrence. We're already at the conclusion. My goodness, it didn't take long for it to happen. But Jackie, thank you, man, for taking time out of your schedule, coming and talking to us about faith. And folks, remember, those of you that are a part of, want to see what's going on with the Faith organization, 6 o'clock. I'm gonna say 6. Get there a little bit early. 6 p.m. this afternoon at Tubman King, and that's going to be an opportunity for the rally to set the stage for the General Assembly. It's going to happen later in the month, but they're going to tell you what they're doing. So please come out, support Jackie, support the work that they're doing, and of course, we're going to continue these conversations about the motherland in a future time.
Yes.
So thank you again for coming out,
Thank
my
you
brother.
for having
Appreciate
me.
you
I
all
do
the more.
appreciate it.
All the more.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to
Thank
make
you.
me remember the name that I got during the naming ceremony. I believe it was Kwai Ni Suasa. That was part of my naming ceremony. So, and I have the certificate. I got it framed.
Yes, I do.
And like you, it also made me go back and wanted to find out more about my lineage.
Absolutely.
And I was able to get that done through AfricanAncestry.com. So there are many different ways, folks, to find out about your background, your heritage, something that I hope we've said here today stimulates you to want to do that. So whether you do I think it's 21andMe,
23andMe.
23andMe. You got AfricanAncestry.com. You got a host of different vehicles that are out there now, and believe it or not, here in this country, the Mormon Church has the greatest collection of, I would say, information on our whole lineage. Isn't that something? Out in Salt Lake City, they've got the largest collection of that documentation. So I'm gonna be making. I think I'm gonna make a trip out there too.
And I can say one thing. I can guarantee you, it will change your life forever.
Yes.
Because it tells you where you have come from and who you are, and that's so important, because we were stolen from the motherland.
That's
but
right.
We're still hanging.
But
in
we're
there.
still here.
We're
still here.
Thanks again.
All right. All right. Well, folks, we've come to a conclusion on today. I'm grateful to God for this opportunity. And so I just want to say to all of you that you should continue to remember what we have often said. Never go to bed as ignorant as you were when you got up this morning. Every day you want to make sure that you learn something new. I hope something that we have shared here with you today indeed has helped you to learn something new. Until next week, Hubert Grimes at The Judges Speaks, signing off, looking forward to the next day, but be blessed in everything that you undertake to do.
WAIGLP, Daytona Beach, Georgia.